As the state of Maharashtra awaits the announcement of who will be the new chief minister along with the two deputies, the big political question for the BJP and the Sangh Parivar internally is who will be the next BJP president and what the Maharashtra and Haryana wins mean for the dynamic between the RSS and the BJP. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Our focus today is on the big political story of the time. The BJP has scored big wins in Maharashtra following a similar unforecast and unpredicted win in Haryana. And most political analysts agree on one thing. These wins, neither of them could have been possible without the return of the RSS. Although no one will officially say it, it's widely believed that the fact that the BJP slipped below the majority mark in the Lok Sabha elections is as a result of the lack of enthusiastic and full participation by the RSS. That rapprochement between the BJP and the RSS seems to have been made. But there are other shifts as well. Narendra Modi, once the front and center of every election campaign, both national and local, he was somewhat limited in exposure in both Maharashtra and Haryana. This leads to another set of questions. Is the BJP now preparing to win elections without Modi, or is Modi still the biggest brand, the backdrop, as it were, as the BJP builds the organization with local leaders? In the midst of this all, The Economist has an intriguing piece describing Nitin Gadkari as the leader to look out for, a maverick, as The Economist calls him, who could one day lead India. To talk about the altering dynamics between the RSS and the BJP, I want to welcome our newsmaker on the program today, veteran journalist and author Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, also the biographer of a book on the life and times of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Welcome, Nilanjan. It's always a pleasure. Let me start by asking you what do you think led to the rapprochement, because clearly there was some friction in the Lok Sabha campaign between the RSS and the BJP. We have forgotten now, but there were a kind of series of speeches with the RSS chief almost baiting the Prime Minister, albeit humorously and not directly, obliquely. Now we very clearly have the return of the RSS cadre, the RSS troops in both Maharashtra and Haryana. There has clearly been some back channeling, some sort of reconciliation. What do you think happened?
This entire uneasy relationship between the RSS and Mr. Modi is not something very new. It has been there from 2014 onward. But given the kind of electoral power and the capacity and the charisma which Mr. Modi had, it was getting very difficult for the RSS to resist that if it wanted to continue to get what they would have liked, some kind of benefits from the government, benefits in terms of their key people to be placed in very important positions so that at a micro level they can control much more than what we can currently communicate, in terms of vice chancellor of of university or in registrar somewhere else. These are all administrative posts in various kind of sections in the cooperative societies placing their people. So there are all these people where, with this paraphernalia of about 40 plus organizations in every conceivable sector that you can think of, the RSS had actually a large number of candidates who required placements. Something that was the biggest thing. And of course, Mr. Modi himself being committed to the ideology of the RSS, on that there was never any doubt as far as the wavering nature of Mr. Vajpayee, the previous time when a Swayamsevak was, or who had been a Pracharak, had gone on to become the Prime Minister. But it became very bad primarily because Mr. Modi overplayed his personality card. There has always been this unspoken line which leaders in the Sangh Parivar do not cross, that putting the individual, or what they call Vyakti, before the Sanghathan or the organization. Now, Mr. Modi it has been a Modi centric government. It used to be called Modi Sarkar by Mr. Modi himself. But I think, where it got the RSS goat is that when it became Modi ki guarantee, and then it became that Ab ki baar 400 par. And then finally, eventually in May, it became that famous interview which JP Nadda gave, in which he said that there was a time when we were not very competent, but now we have become capable. So we really do not require the assistance of the RSS. They can continue to do their work and we will continue to do our work, which was virtually saying that we don't require the RSS any longer for any electoral campaigning. So the RSS decided, to my mind, that it decided to teach them a lesson. So the cadre didn't go out in a large number of states, especially where they are very strong, which is North and Western India, Maharashtra included. After the verdict of the 4th of June, Mr. Mohan Bhagwat became more direct. Short of naming Mr. Modi, he made some fairly offensive statements, which definitely in the political context, anybody could have guessed that this is targeted at Mr. Modi. The first indication that there is some kind of an approach happening was when the BJP announced that its senior leaders would attend the Samanvay Samiti Baithak in July in Palghat in Kerala. This is sometime in July. That became the first time when the BJP went out with some kind of a peace card, if I can actually say so. They were not really greatly embraced or warmly welcomed in Palghat. Okay, you have come, fine. They were there for a day and then they left, and that was the rest of it. But that's when the back channel started, and sometime towards August, you started seeing that Mr. Vajpayee is not, Mr. Bhagwat is not making those kind of statements which doing. Then came a meeting of the RSS, the Kendriya Margdarshak Mandali, that is the executive committee parallel of about 18-20 people in Mathura towards the last week of October, at the end of which Mr. Dattatreya Hosbole made some very important comments, statements. These were suo motu declarations without being questioned. So, which means that they came and met the press with the intention of communicating it. One is that at first, publicly, this was for the first time, they accepted, yes, there had been some kind of an issue with the Nadda statements, but then he went to say that if there is an issue, we know how to deal with it and it has been sorted out. That was one. The second point, which was very important to be noted, is that they endorsed a statement made by Yogi Adityanath in the context of Bangladesh, ki batenge to katenge. The RSS said that this is perfectly in line, which was actually, we all know of the historical problem which the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Adityanath has with the Modi and his very close aides there, right from 2017, when he was essentially not the choice of Mr. Modi and his personal aides. From that time onwards, there have been problems between Adityanath and Modi and his team of associates. Which means that, and even after the 4th of June, the poor performance of the BJP in Uttar Pradesh, a scapegoat had to be found. Mr. Modi and his aides tried to pin the responsibility on Adityanath, and he got back with that order, to stop non-vegetarian food and, also putting up the banners of the, shop owners on the route of the Kanwar, the eating joints and all that. Essentially, he said, okay, you targeting me, I go more to the far right. I go to become a more committed Hindutva votary, which you cannot become now because of the limitations of your numbers. I have the numbers on my side, which, as he showed in the by-elections recently, that yes, UP to some extent has favored, at least in the by-election, the BJP once again is back in the reckoning. So I think this October meeting was a clear sign that there has been some kind of a reworking of the balance of power within the Sangh Parivar. No longer is it Modi all the way. It is now a Modi, much toned down Modi. He obviously cannot tone down beyond a certain point because of his inherent personality, where always the individual comes before the organization. Right from his Gujarat days, you can say. And he actually did not really, coordinate with the RSS in Gujarat in his chief minister days.
But let me be contrarian here and push back on one argument. You see,
Yeah.
the RSS needs Modi as much as the Modi needs RSS, and the reason for that is that even though the RSS's lack of full participation brought Mr. Modi below and the party below a majority, given how the BJP's leadership has developed in its post Modi era,
Hmm.
without Modi, there's no guarantee that the BJP will be able to deliver wins.
Sorry, I didn't get your question. You said that.
I'm saying without Modi, the
Yes.
BJP as of now, there's no bigger political brand in the BJP than Modi.
No,
Right
definitely.
now, as
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
now, right? Mr. Modi continues to be, despite some hits, the biggest political brand in the country, arguably, and
Yes,
actually
sir.
inarguably. If the RSS wants its ideological affiliates in power, which I'm sure it does, then the RSS needs Modi as much as Modi needs RSS. So the RSS also can't afford to antagonize Modi beyond a point.
I think both have to ensure that they cannot antagonize beyond a certain point. Mr. Modi
Exactly.
was taught a lesson that if you antagonize us beyond a certain point, if you take liberties beyond a certain point, if you actually play the personality card too much, too frequently and too for too long, then there is a situation where the RSS may quietly withdraw, and they wanted to just establish the what it means if the RSS is not there during campaigning. The June 4th result and the result of the 23rd of November actually establishes what the presence of the RSS, what its micro campaigning, can actually do the difference between the 4th of June and the 23rd of November. It actually establishes. Looked at in conjunction with also Haryana results, uh, we can say that the BJP has been told that not necessarily Mr. Modi doesn't have to be there everywhere. They won Haryana and the Maharashtra without Mr. Modi campaigning as vociferously and as with a greater amount of frequency as he's done in most assembly elections in the past. There were, of course, in the long distance future backward, there were several elections when Mr. Modi did not so actively participate, like in Assam for the first time when they formed the government. At that point, it was not so much Mr. Modi, but it was more of local leaders at that particular point. So, what I'm saying is that the RSS knows that ideology has become very strong. The when the ideology or when the vichar becomes very strong and also very abridged, it is no longer the time of long slogans. Bacha bacha Ram ka janam bhumi ke kaam ka, long sentence. Now it's staccato, tweet, बटेंगे तो कटेंगे, and which actually forces Mr. Modi to also use that in his own style,
Different, in a
एक है तो
different way.
साथ है, that kind,
Huh. Right.
so it's a kind of condensation. So the question which arises in this very peculiar balance which the RSS tries to make between Vyakti and Sanghatan, if the vichar becomes more important, there will be occasions, I'm not saying permanently, there will be occasions where the Vyakti is not so important because the vichar is doing the trick. That is what happened in Maharashtra this time. Vyakti not being present so much as it was previously, but good pre-election groundwork led by Devendra Fadnavis and the RSS machinery. I think that is what swung the entire election the BJP's way. So
Now,
these are
this
things which
status,
we have to see. Also, a very
yeah,
crucial thing you mentioned in your introduction, very correctly so, the BJP precedent.
yes.
Pre June 4th, we would have said that the BJP would have made a virtual suo motu announcement on its own if what Nadda said was actually happened, that the BJP ended up with 350 Lok Sabha seats and 400 plus for the NDA. Then the RSS wouldn't have looked towards Nagpur or RSS before naming a BJP president. But now there will be widespread consultation. There will be all kinds of decisions. Even the Maharashtra chief minister's selection, it will be having whatever it is final. Devendra Fadnavis definitely has the support of the RSS at the moment, and
Yeah.
so does Nitin Gadkari, whose name you said that is a man to watch out for. Yes, he is a very quiet player. He has known never to fail the leadership. He's never actually done anything to go against the leadership of Mr. Modi. But yes, he has
Just,
also
just,
communicated his.
just on Gadkari, that wasn't me saying it, but the Economist. I want to just
Yeah,
show you that
economist.
headline. Yeah, the headline actually said very interestingly, meet the outspoken maverick who could lead India. This is in the latest, most recent publication or edition of The Economist. I found the timing quite interesting. It is no secret, Nilanjan, you would know this, but for the benefit of our audience, that relationship between Mr. Gadkari and Mr. Modi have never been great. Mr. Gadkari has survived because he has the stamp of approval of the RSS of Nagpur, which is also where Mr. Gadkari comes from. And there was a time, and we have all forgotten this, but some of us are old enough to remember it, when Nitin Gadkari was BJP president, Narendra
Yes,
Modi was Gujarat chief minister. And I remember doing an interview at that time with Nitin Gadkari, where Gadkari went on record to talk about a prolonged period where Gadkari and Modi had no communication. So
that's
this has
right.
not been a secret, right? This dynamic is the most intriguing dynamic in the entire cabinet. The survival of Gadkari, the every few years the speculation that Gadkari will have a bigger role, and then now the Economist article. Is this just media doing khali pulao, or is this something you'd actually look out for here in this dynamic now?
No, I think Gadkari's rise will happen only if there is a decline of Modi within the Sangh Parivar. You also have to keep in mind that next September, Mr. Modi, along with Mr. Bhagwat, are going to turn 75. Now, a large number of people expect within the RSS, from whatever little conversations I have had with them, is that there is a strong possibility that Mr. Bhagwat is going to step down for someone else. If not
Mhm.
step down, then he obviously is going to name a successor, which could be kept private or could be also made public as it has been done on some occasions in the past. Now, if the 75 convention, I am not calling it a rule because it is not one, a half convention because it has been used for some, not been used for the others. Now, if Mr. Bhagwat decides to use it for the RSS, then there will be ample pressure on Mr. Modi to also make some kind of a distancing or changing or at least naming a successor. I think no, that's possibly the safest thing. What Mr. Modi would do. I do not think that I'll stick my neck out and say that he will have to retire at 75 in September 2025. Highly unlikely. But I get this constant message that even if it is not 2025, 2029, provided this government lasts till that time, would
Yeah.
be the last time that Mr. Modi, if he is still there at
But
the in office at that moment, will be the last one with him at the helm.
well, two things there. One is that the wins in Maharashtra and Haryana have certainly bolstered the BJP's morale,
Yes.
compared to where the BJP was in the Lok Sabha. And it certainly hit the main opposition party, the Congress, very hard because all of the assembly elections that have taken place after the Lok Sabha results have been bad for the Congress. All of them,
Mm.
singularly bad for the Congress, from Haryana, where in a way defeat was snatched from the jaws of victory. Some might argue to Jammu and Kashmir, where the Congress couldn't pull its weight, to Jharkhand, where it's really the win of the JMM, to Maharashtra, where it's third consecutive defeat for the Congress in the Maharashtra state elections. So when you say today that, oh, if this government lasts, there could still have been some reason for you to raise that question in the immediate aftermath of the Lok Sabha elections. But today the BJP is placed quite comfortably after these two big wins.
Yeah, it is, but then India, given the fact that we keep on having assembly elections, suppose our Aam Aadmi Party comes back once again in Delhi with a thumping majority. In October, November, we have elections in Bihar. Suppose it doesn't go, in the way in which the BJP would like it to happen. Suppose Nitish
Mhm.
Kumar, after seeing, the way the BJP went into the election with Eknath Shinde as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, but after the results are out and coming out with a better performance than Shinde's Sena, obviously, it would have, it is in any case a bigger organization. In all probability, they will be having their own chief minister. Now, Nitish Kumar, given the kind of position it is, he might also fear that, is this the way the BJP is going to treat me also? In that case, will he be rethinking options? We really do not know. So we cannot, in the nature of Indian politics is such that beyond 3 to 6 months, beyond that, we cannot say anything with conviction that this shall not happen. Yes, the BJP
Yes.
is, stable. It has gained considerably. It is no longer down in dumps as in June 4th. Even a large number of adversaries now say that June 4th was possibly overread. It was not such a big defeat for the BJP, especially like in a state of of Maharashtra, 31 and 17, yes, but
Yeah.
not in terms of vote share. There's a very narrow line of divide, whereas
Yes.
this time the verdict is emphatically in favor of the BJP. So, yes, there are at the moment BJP, but nothing is really final in Indian politics.
Your second point is an interesting one. If Mohan Bhagwat at 75 decides to signal some sort of political renunciation or the beginnings of it, even if the beginnings of it, even if he says, I've turned 75, in 2 years from now, I will be doing this, and so is the person who will take on from me, then that moral pressure on the prime minister
Yes.
might actually increase.
Yes, I think so. There will be because both of them are actually they were born just days apart. Mr. Mohan Bhagwat
Yeah.
was born on the officially at least it carries 11th of September 1950, and Mr. Modi is 17th of September. So it's just 6 days apart, and the fact
Yeah.
that their youth they have actually worked together on various occasions when Mr. Modi was also in the RSS. So there will be some kind of a moral pressure that he also has to act. He
But what if
cannot
Mr.
take on.
Mohan Bhagwat ji also continues?
It is possible that he may continue. These
Yes.
are very difficult to actually say what will happen because even the people within the RSS or the BJP would not really know that what exactly is brewing in Mr. Mohan Bhagwat's mind at the moment. He's known to consult people, but he actually comes out with surprises as I have been told that there have been many occasions when he's come out with surprises, like his statements after the 4th of June. The bulk of the leadership was completely unprepared of. They did not think that he would actually turn so hostile and bitter when he made those statements.
Now, you spoke about, the Vyakti being subservient to the Vichar, or should be, according to the Sangh
No,
Parivar.
no, Vyakti and Sangathan, which is now becoming
Sorry.
the dominant thing.
Okay.
The
So to talk
ideology.
about the Vichar. Okay. So to talk about the Vichar, there is some murmurs that actually what is happening, for example, in Uttar Pradesh with the Sambhal Mosque, or
Hmm.
in Ajmer, where we have seen delegations of the Ajmer Dargah present a chadar to the Prime Minister. He has met
Yes,
them not once, but more than once, right? But
he
the
did it
fact that a
though.
Rajasthan,
Let me just add, he did it though first time after
yeah,
the US president of that time, Barack Obama, came here and spoke about religious freedom.
okay, fair enough. The point I was making was something different. That what is happening in Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan and possibly elsewhere now, if there are copycat petitions talking about other mosques, previously having had a temple beneath the ground at some point, etc. If this happens in a copycat domino effect sort of way, it doesn't actually suit the BJP or the Modi government, and that then either this means that the BJP has unleashed a genie that it can no longer put back into the bottle, or to be fair, Justice Chandrachud, in his judgment on Gyan Vapi, has actually released that genie. Why say the BJP? But in terms of Vichar, is the BJP RSS going to go this hard Hindutva way, or is it going to govern from the center? Because any successful government needs social stability. Any successful government.
If you actually go back and look at the BJP's electoral graph, in terms of performances and which are the occasions where they have towed a hard line. Take the 2024 elections. When did Mr. Modi start using a majoritarian platform to build his campaign on? It was with that speech in Banswara in Rajasthan. I think it was
Mhm.
Banswara or somewhere
Yes,
there,
it was.
where
It
he,
was.
the
Yes.
first time referred to that the Congress manifesto. This is what they're going to
I
do. They're
know, but
going
it
to
didn't
do.
work for him. It didn't
So
work
it
for
didn't
him.
work for them but that is the only thing towards which they turn when nothing else is working. Maharashtra, it did work for them. Batenge to katenge. I would say in today's era of reduced syllables and alphabets, it's a perfect slogan. And that is what eventually happened. Ek hai to safe hai. Everybody, right from the RSS to the Prime Minister to the Chief Minister aspirant Devendra Fadnavis to anybody has been using the same slogan.
Except
And it is
except
being
for
appreciated by them.
except for their ally Ajit Pawar. who distanced himself from that
Yes,
slogan. And there are many, these are the contradictions of Indian politics. We saw, according to the CSDS survey, 22% of Muslims voted for the BJP-led alliance.
yes, but I still have always doubted the surveys. That whether the Muslims are actually speaking the truth or not, because I have always had to think that if I am a Muslim and if I am actually living with this constant risk of showing my identity in public, either by name. There's a very leading, political scientist, a social scientist who I interviewed a couple of months ago, and he had also been, speaking to me over years. He told me that whenever he's traveling in any public transport, if a call comes from one of his Muslim acquaintances, he always struggles. Should he say Walaikum Salam or should he say Namaste, kaise hain, main theek
I,
hu? Right.
I get what you're saying, but there's another way to look at it. And we've seen this happen in Gujarat. At some point, every citizen of this country needs to engage with units of governance. It can start with their corporator, go on to their legislator, going on to their MP. And at some point, India's Muslims too may react to, Maharashtra has been a hyper localized election in many ways. They may also be reacting to candidates, right? They may also be reacting. There is some analysis that Muslim women have also benefited from the Ladki Behan scheme of Eknath Shinde. So I'm just saying that no one size fits all theory actually
No,
applies to the Indian voter.
yeah, yeah, especially about Muslims. There's one biggest misconception about the Muslims in India is that we still think of them as a homogeneous community, whereas they are not. They are as heterogeneous as the Hindus are, divided between various castes. In Gujarat, there is a very small section within the Muslim community who have a history of being engaged in the mercantile sector, in the trading business, in which they are very common partners with the Hindus there, and it has been going on for several centuries. That has been the sociological truth there. And it has always been the case that beyond the transactional relationship, there is very little social interaction. At the end of the evening, everybody shuts their shutters and then they go to their own respective places. No interaction till morning when they have to come back and again open their shops. That's when they come together. So the marketplace is the only place where they engage with or interact with the other community, Hindus with the Muslims and vice versa. Now, within the section which is actually economically finding itself stable because of this financial interaction, they would know that the people they are interacting with also are committed to the Hindutva way of life. That is, there in by and large in Gujarat, I would say that an overwhelming section of the Hindus are actually committed to the way the BJP and the RSS looks at what should be the relationship. Yes, Muslims are welcome to stay here, but then the terms should be set by us. So that is why you would remember that when malls started coming up in a big way on Eid, keeping Muslims out from malls, so Gujarat was the first place where it really started. It's only later on it went to other states. Those kind of things happened. Some kind of a invisibilizing the Muslims. In the last few years, we have also seen this public namaz on Fridays, especially, being disallowed all the time. So
Right.
there are pressures on Muslims, and if anybody comes to what I was actually trying to get at, if I or you were a Muslim, we have to think that if somebody comes and asks for, did you vote for the BJP or did you vote for the opposition party, whichever one is there at the thing, even if you are not asked to identify yourself, you would possibly say that why should I say that I did not vote for the BJP? I voted for the BJP. I'm not saying that I doubt these surveys, but I look at it purely in terms of human response, in the way the human being would respond to in a situation where they're constantly under pressure and feel targeted all the time.
Well, I mean, there's much to talk about when it comes to, how the Muslims voted, including was there there's some theories that there was also counter polarization, that there were ulemas who gave statements in Maharashtra that could have also created a polarization. So we don't know, but we don't know. And like I said, all things and their opposite can be true when it comes to Indian elections. But let me come back to this very interesting question of who will be the next BJP president, right? There was a time when Maharashtra looked like a lost case for the BJP. But there was also another time when Devendra Fadnavis, a great favorite of the RSS, was being considered for the job. There have been murmurs about Bhupinder Yadav being somebody who could step into those shoes. What's clear is, as you've said, that this is going to be a process of consultation now. What do you think the RSS and the BJP would be looking at before they agree on who the next BJP president will be?
The RSS would want somebody who would lend them a year also and listen to their advice and also their words of caution whenever some key decision is being taken. They would like somebody like that. And Mr. Modi would like somebody who, after becoming president, does not, rams everything which is being told to him by the RSS down his throat. He would also want, to be able to advise the new president to be. So I think that 2025 to 2028, and maybe even more, because by the time the next parliament elections would be done, we would have a stronger office of the BJP president than what has been between 2020 and 2025. That is the Nadda tenure, which is actually being completely subservient to the Modi-Amit Shah duo. I think that period should be over, given the kind of pressure which the RSS has applied on Mr. Modi and his associates.
But even so, even if you think that the next BJP president will be a stronger entity than now, he or she can't be so strong so as to not in the end defer to the prime minister.
No, certainly. But then it cannot be only the prime minister, as has been the case on many occasions. Candidate selection, for instance. In the 2024 elections, the RSS has a major grouse that none of the names that they recommended were given the party nomination this time. So I think there has to be, something would have been communicated to Mr. Modi, and there would have been some kind of an assurance from his side for the RSS to come back into the campaign, after the Lok Sabha elections, and in both Haryana as well as in Maharashtra, also Jharkhand, where of course it didn't work for different reasons. I think because Hemant Soren was much smarter than the adversaries in Maharashtra, and also because the BJP made some political errors, in terms of campaign. I think it was a misplaced campaign which was given to Hemanta Biswa Sarma, and then come to say trying to say that the demographic character of this thing is changing. So it's actually alienated the tribal community very greatly in Jharkhand.
All right, Nilanjan, always fascinating to talk to you and learn from you. We leave it there and hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you, Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, author, veteran journalist, biographer of a book on the Prime Minister. Thank you and take care.
Just one more.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.